Okay, on this problem, we're asked to see if there's a relationship between getting an epidural and whether you're still breastfeeding at 6 months. So the table shows results of a study investigating whether after-effective epidurals administering during childbirth might interfere with successful breastfeeding. And we're going to do a chi-square test, and we are going to assume that the conditions for inference are met. So first thing we're going to do is calculate the component of the chi-square for the Oh, that's part A. But before we do that, we're going to first determine the null and the alternative hypothesis. And this is a test for independence. We're going to see if breastfeeding success is independent of having an epidural, or if there is the alternative would be that there is some sort of association. We don't know what type, but we just say that there's some sort of association. Okay, now it says, what is the component of the chi-square for the epidural / no breastfeeding cell? So we have to do quite a bit of work to figure that out first, because the component of the chi-square will be that observed minus expected square divided by divided by the expected for the epidural / no breastfeeding cell. So let me grab the data, and I'm going to copy it into Excel, and I'm going to have to do quite a bit of work. Okay, so and actually, let me insert, or I'll just go up a little bit. So this top part, and I am going to insert a row here, just because it feels better. So this here is breastfeeding. Those are those numbers. And here is the epidural. These are the epidural numbers. Okay, whether they had one or didn't. And so, like, you can kind of, if you want, you can be fancy and merge these cells. Let me see if I can merge them, and so it looks, and then I can center them so it looks a little better. Okay, now to get your expected cells, what you're going to need to do is you're going to want to take these right here, and you're going to compute the expected numbers. So what you do is you do the row total divided by the column total, so that'll give you the percent of yes to breastfeeding, and then you multiply that by the number that said yes to an epidural. So you're going to do, for this, to get the yes for the expected column, you do, right here we're going to do an equal sign. We'll do this row divided by the total, and then times the column for yes for epidural. Okay, and then we do the same thing for the no. What we do is we do the total no's to figure out the percentage of no's out of the total for breastfeeding. So we'll say right here, we'll do equals this row total divided by the whole study total, and then we're going to multiply that by the yes value, the yes total for epidural. So that would be our expected number for the yes to epidural and no to the breastfeeding. Now to get the no to the epidural and yes to the breastfeeding, you're going to do equals 699 divided by the 1157. So you're going to do the row total for yes breastfeeding divided by the total number, and then multiply that by the total number of no's that you had for epidural. And that's your expectation, and then you do the same thing to get no epidural and no breastfeeding. You're going to do the row total divided by the total for the study, and then you multiply that by the total for no's to epidural, and that gives you your expected values. Now, to get your corresponding chi-squares, you're going to do observed minus expected squared divided by expected. So you'll do equals, parenthesis, the observed, which was 218, minus the expected, which is 229. You're going to square that and divide that by the expected and hit enter. Oops, I forgot to square it. Let's try it again. I didn't like my squared. Divided by the expected. All right, and then you're going to do that. You can actually just drag that over, and it'll do the right thing. It'll do D11 minus D15, and then square it and divide by D15.